his, like, stuck in his fur.
Well, you know what you gotta tell him? Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Anime Club. I'm Nick Knack, with me is the great Lord Warren.
Hi everybody, let's DIY this.
Realm Shifter.
I'm DIYing, trying to get this little piece of couch fuzz or whatever it is off of Jack's face right now. Hi, everybody.
And Seki, the daughter of a prolific do-it-yourself kind of guy.
That's true. I'm DIYing existence.
I'm pretty sure your father DIY'd your guys' house out of building guidances.
Look. My dad DIY'd our house to the point where when I asked my brother to put in a grounding wire to Mom's plug in her office, it turned off the electricity to my bedroom.
Yeah.
And only my bedroom.
Ah, yes, I remember that nightmare.
Look, DIY is not moldy and old, but as things start to get old with DIY projects, they very well might get moldy.
Yes, this is true. DIY is great if you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you were the one who did it and remembered what you did.
Yeah.
It's wonderful until you're exploring old childhood memories of either your childhood or when you were raising your child, and then your foot goes through the bottom of your treehouse, and you now can't walk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do it yourself.
As you might have guessed, the anime we watched this week was Do It Yourself, or DIY.
Mm-hmm.
Which, for the first time in a while, so this is a original anime. So it does have a manga adaptation that released at the same time, but it was anime original, and the manga only has like 3 volumes.
Mm-hmm.
However, it was also given a live-action TV drama adaptation the year after it came out.
It was a multimedia project. They kind of knew they wanted to do a few different things with it.
Yep. So it was produced by Studio Pine Jam.
Alright.
Pine Jam was started by an ex-8-bit producer. And they've not done a ton of stuff because they're pretty new. But we actually do recognize some of the stuff that they've done. And I know we will.
Mm-hmm.
So, because they did Gleipnir.
Okay.
And that was pretty popular.
It wasn't that popular.
Well, let me rephrase that. It was pretty infamous for a while. But they've also done things like Maho Shoujo Nante Moi Desukara, Gamers, Just Because, Kageki Shoujo, Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible, Paradox Live the Animation, and 'Tis Time for Torture, Princess.
Time for torture?
Do I know what that is? No!
Do we want to dare find out?
I think I've actually looked into this one before.
I'm actually...
I remember it not looking that bad at all.
Yeah, actually, I might add that to the hat. I might actually add that to the hat. What the hell? That actually looks fun. And also, 'Tis Time for Torture got a second season.
Neat.
And I think that's why I've heard of it. I think I heard about the second season coming out.
Yeah. So, we do have, we have an OP, Doki Doki Idea o Yoroshiku, and an ED, Tsuzuku Hanashi. And I was listening to the OP to refresh myself earlier, and Nick Nack and I had been discussing something that was a little bit, frustrating, and I started playing the opening, and Nick Nack was just like, you can't be mad when this is playing.
Honestly,
It's just too cute.
I didn't really have much of an opinion on either the OP or the ED. I was just like, this is just Ishike vibe music, and that's what this is here for.
But it was cute.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, very cute, very calming.
Yeah, it was very cute. I really liked the ending animation. Like the actual ending sequence that went along with the song, I thought was adorable and very fitting for the show. So I really liked the OP and ED, and then obviously something I think I might have just vaguely touched on last time, but there's also a somewhat unique art style, right? This doesn't necessarily look like every other anime that's coming out right now.
Well, but I don't think it's
I
that striking. But it's definitely got like there's more of like is it a watercolor background? Is kind of what they're
Yeah.
going for here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Like in the art itself, this is not like matching to kind of the industry standard right now.
I think it was most striking for me whenever they put water or the sky on screen.
Yeah. And very a lot like simpler in terms of like character designs.
I in my head I was thinking to myself, this is like one step away from almost just straight up chibi in a sense, where it's just like they're very simple, very cutesy, but not quite fully chibified.
Yeah, but effective at communicating like who's who and how people are acting.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
pretty easy to tell characters apart because they've got like their signature things, which was very nice. The animation I think was really good actually. Like the quality of like the techniques of the animation was quite good. Nick, you've been real quiet and grinning. Do you disagree with something I've said?
Not at all, actually.
Oh, okay. Normally when you're quiet and you start
I'm
grinning...
looking at my dog, like, sleeping peacefully.
Absolutely,
that's fair.
just
He is.
having a good nap on my belly.
He understands the vibe of DIY.
Also, I need you to know that like I have the OP playing on loop in my head, which is why I just have that perpetual smile on my
it's
head.
really
There's no
hard.
thoughts, just...
God dang it. No. I don't need that stuck in my head constantly. God dang it.
Yeah, maybe you do, or maybe
No,
you
I do
do
not. No, that reminds me of freaking just the other things that I've done that's DIY-esque.
I can promise you that whenever I DIY something, I certainly do not have that happy of a tune playing in my head. Normally it's a litany of cuss words when I like
Hard rock
bang,
music.
yeah, I like bang my finger, chip a nail, hit myself in the face, put something on the wrong way. Certainly much more violent.
I think the closest thing I think either of us have done really to DIY projects was the what was it, the IKEA dresser that we put together. I think
IKEA is not DIY.
I know it's not, but still, just
The last time I did a DIY project, my brother helped me build a set of raised garden beds for my mom in the backyard. And halfway through, he fell while we were carrying 16-foot boards, which caused the boards to slam up into my chin, which caused me to bite almost entirely through my lip and created like an actual like cut on the underside of my chin. I need you to know this was less than 3 months ago.
pain. Pain.
Like the absolute amount of fucks that came out of my mouth in that moment, right?
That's
in my experience, DIY is painful, dirty, and violent.
I don't think I've ever done any DIY projects on my own, but watching the DIY, it reminded me a lot of when Vorn and I were in like our robotics club after school in high school. That was
more closer to like an actual DIY thing right there.
especially when we tried to make a DIY T-shirt canyon.
Yeah.
That didn't go over too well.
So what
I
did
don't
it-
remember that
did it
fully.
fall-
It didn't ever end up working fully.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I was gonna say, did it like fall apart when you launched the first
No,
T-shirt?
it's just shitty.
Okay, fair enough.
Not that much pressure behind it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, now I remember the design. Yep. Thanks for reminding me of that. Yeah.
On the other hand, my mom's new raised garden beds look amazing. We had a very successful DIY.
Successful with much bloodshed involved.
Actually, yes, quite a lot of bloodshed. You'd be surprised how much mouth injuries bleed.
Yeah.
A lot.
Bad entry.
Well,
of course.
going to the dentist has taught me one thing, that's for sure.
Yeah, because I managed to go almost all the way through my lip and then down into my chin with my front teeth.
That sounds so painful.
Look, I think Vorn and I can agree that an underfunded, undermanned building club is not as fun as this anime makes it look.
No.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
There's some fun moments, but
they're aside from just the main club president, I can't remember her name right now. Actually having like all the tools, probably being the one who's supplying most of the stuff for the series, because I can't imagine with her being the only member that they're getting very much funding to
But
bring all
no,
these
they
supplies.
can't supply stuff from personal funds and personal collections.
So they just have all these power tools and
yeah.
everything.
Well, this club has been a while. been like there for a while.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
Yeah.
It's just dying, and you're
Yeah.
probably using the equivalent of like 5 to 10-year-old tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for context, DIY is an anime about a group of girls from Gata Gata Girls High School and UU Girls Vocational High School. Technically, the club is hosted at Gata Gata, but there's a few members that are like unofficially part of the club that are from UU. Because they can't officially be part of the club because it's a different school. But it is a group of girls who do DIY projects as part of an after-school club.
I need you to know, guys, that when we say that they're from different schools, they probably should have just been the same school. They are like literally right next to each other, and
Yeah,
one person literally hops out the window and into the other school.
But one is a vocational school for technology, and the other one is a regular high school.
But like someone, I assume it's a vocational school, made the conscious choice to build their school literally at the perpendicular angle next to the border of the other school.
Look! It just they just want to leech off the mood. I don't know.
Like the school can't be that nice. Evidently, they took over some of the grounds of the other school or something.
Also, they're really some of the students are really thought about bringing about the technological singularity where AI will take over everything once it gains metacognition.
I'm gonna tell you, no.
Yeah. No.
And then we have the advisor for the club, the school nurse who turns out was an alumna of the club. So obviously this DIY club has a long and storied history if we have the school nurse as an alumna.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it is like in all senses of the word, this is an T.H.E. It is literally under the genre slice of life. It is simple, it is fun, it is cute, and it is literally just everyday life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it is. Like that's what makes sense here.
Yeah.
Fun fact. So this was created by Avex Pictures and Imago, right? I discussed this earlier. But do you know the name Avex Pictures? So what?
I was just making sure that wasn't on.
So Avex Pictures is actually pretty well known because they are they're part of Avex Inc. And Avex Inc. is it's an entertainment conglomerate. They actually manage TVXQ, Pico Taro, and a lot of other really famous singers and other things. And then they have a pretty decent foothold in anime, video games, and live events. So yeah. They're also part of the Mitsubishi Group.
Nice.
Oh, Asian conglomerates.
Yes.
Owns. I'm sure it's one of those owns like a fifth of the Japanese entertainment industry kind of groups.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, TVXQ is one of the most popular K-pop and J-pop groups in the world, and has been one of the longest lasting. They're also known as DBSK. TVXQ, DBSK. Anyways. So yeah, cute little. I mean, like, here's the thing. This is an T.H.E, right? So there is not a lot to this, right? The vast majority of this is just every episode they're doing something different, something new, in, like, groups, trying things out, building things.
Yeah. Because this is not like Dumbbells, like a previous anime we watched on the channel where it was kind of like edutainment. And
I mentioned that it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I think there's actually a fair amount of, like, applicable sort of advice and things you see the girls doing that you could apply to DIY, you know, in your life, per se.
Like I think the closest thing really I got out of it was in the first episode when they were watching the instructional video and the club president was explaining the purpose of grout and putting it in between tiles.
See, that is edutainment.
Or that when you're building a treehouse, you should probably use the equivalent of tree hydrogen peroxide when you drill the hole into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and water treated wood.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah.
So there was a tiny amount of edutainment, so I was not entirely.
Yeah.
I was not entirely left disappointed.
I kind of put the amount of like genuine educational content in DIY I would compare to the educational content that you get in like a cooking show like Food Wars, right? Where like if you're watching it and you care about cooking, or DIY in this case, then yeah, a lot of the tips and tricks they're giving you or things they're telling you are accurate to life, right? Like these food combinations do work. This is actually a technique for perfecting this type of cooking, right? But if you don't need it, it's not relevant to you as education. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's very much take what you want out of the show, whereas Dumbbells, I think, had a very definite educational sort of slant in a lot of ways, because we got a lot of expositionary education from it.
Before you go applying these techniques, though, please do take a safety class first.
Okay, well, yeah, no, that's not the point of DIY, Vaughn. Safety classes are irrelevant. You read online what's not smart to do, and then hopefully you listen to it.
This is why a bunch of Japanese teenagers doing DIY got a bunch of wood chips in their eyes.
Exactly.
You see, the point of this kind of series is to see how you can start as many spontaneous fires from literally nothing as possible.
Yeah. The point of DIY is never to prepare yourself by taking a safety seminar or a safety class in advance. It's to learn who would or wouldn't succeed in a Darwin situation. Because if you don't know that you should wear protective goggles when working with something that could fling things up at your eyes, maybe you need to rethink your ability to be trusted to do things on your own.
Or you just want to return and experience what life was like for our ancient ancestors.
Exactly.
Where the probability of death was very high.
Exactly.
I personally think the true meaning of DIY are these only gonna last half the amount of time things that you can build that you'll have such an emotional attachment to you'll never want to get rid of, even as that bench is stabbing you in the side with a loose wooden board.
Do you have experience here?
On the bench one, yes.
Okay.
Surprisingly, my wooden chair that I built so long ago in elementary school has actually lasted very, very well. And has not actually got any splinters.
Amazing.
The wooden shelf I built all on my own during quarantine to extend my bookcases is still going strong. My mom uses it as an end table in the family room.
Nice.
I even did all the sanding myself after I got a splinter.
Haha.
See? Darwin Awards.
Yep.
See, I'm not talking about stuff even 5 years later. I'm talking stuff like that you build when you're young and then you hold on to for 20, 30 years and force on your kids.
Oh, yeah. You want to hear a funny story about a DIY that my grandparents did? So my grandpa built this bench at our old house, right? And I remember because he built it, it's a pretty comfy bench, right? But then he painted it, right? And he painted, like, every single piece of wood was a different color, right? And he painted it and it looked so nice. And my mom and grandma sat down on it. The paint was not dry. And then they both stood up and they were rainbow striped. And to this day, the bench still has the outlines of them in the paint.
Can I just say, pretty much all of these young girls in the DIY club, they're probably going to end up being the single, especially like our main girl, Yua.
Yeah.
They're gonna be. She's gonna be like the worst old person. Mother, grandma, my bed is broken. Can we get a new one? No, we're not buying a new one. I'll fix it myself. I'll buy it myself.
Okay, so my brother did that to me because I, unbeknownst to the channel, but I have an IKEA bed frame, right? Knickknack's seen this bed frame, right? Like before it broke and after it broke. So I have an IKEA bed frame, and the bottom of it broke, and I had taken it apart with the intention of getting rid of it potentially and getting a new bed frame. And my brother saw it and he was like, no, I can fix this with 2 2x4s. And I mean, it's fixed for a given value of I have a bed frame. It's ugly though.
It's not comfortable.
It's the frame, so it's not really hurting me, but it's like it's a little too high. So I can't like sit on it very easily. I have to like jump a little bit. And it's not. Putting sheets on and off of my bed is incredibly hard with it.
Okay.
So it's not ideal.
But it's like, yeah, it's neat that you can do this, but also like, could I just got the new bed instead?
There's a certain level I think with DIY, and this kind of it's in the case of like this, like a high school club, right? It's absolutely acceptable to just try to DIY anything, right?
Yeah.
But I think when you get to like adulthood, right, there's a level of every adult should have a certain level of DIY, right? Because there are some things that you do genuinely you should just do at home, right? Like, for example, let's say you really like a spice blend that's like lemon pepper and salt and a little bit of curry powder, right? Real story for something that me and my mom do for a particular recipe, right? So rather than buy a spice mix that mixes all those things for like a higher price, we just buy a big container of each of them, and then we mix it ourselves, and then pour it into jars with a little funnel, right? And that's doing it ourselves, right? And that's a little something that, makes our life easier because we just have the one spice that's labeled for that dish that we make, right? We don't pay the extra fee of having to have someone else make it for us, and we get something out of it, right? Building a bed frame, if you're not good at building things, is not one of those things, right? So there's like a level of like what you actually can do versus what's like financially or sort of like ease of access accessible in DIY. And there are absolutely people who can like build bed frames and stuff, but honestly, if you're building something at a professional level, I wouldn't necessarily call it DIY anymore. DIY is sort of for the things that you are doing as like at like an unprofessional level that make your life easier or form a function that you need that you could go out and buy, but you'd rather not spend the money on,
Food, like homemaking food and DIY like furniture, for example, are very different.
Exactly.
Because food you're going to eat ultimately. You're not going to form an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
Furniture, though, if you put all that sweat, tears, and sometimes blood into it, sometimes like, no, this is my thing. I'm not getting rid of this. Technically, it wasn't DIY, but this harpsichord that I put together when I was younger and don't know how to fix, even though it's been broken for 20 years. See, I had to go for the throat there.
I hate that damn thing. I hate that damn thing. I didn't even put it together. There is no one in my house who has an emotional attachment to that thing. No one living.
But you had to have it because someone did.
Oh, we had to have it because someone did, because it was a DIY build-it-yourself harpsichord kit. We had to have the harpsichord, even though it never once got played in the last 26 years that I have existed on the goddamned planet Earth. And in those 26 years, the amount of times that I got yelled at or walloped over it, because as a child, I scraped some stars into the side of it. You can't even see them, and yet I still got walloped for it.
Something that people should most definitely know how to DIY. Changing your car battery. And look at Seki.
Why are we all targeting me here? Also, that's not
even
DIY.
That's not even DIY because the battery is pre-made for you.
Yeah.
You're not making the battery from scratch.
Yeah, but you do save money.
If you are, holy shit, what are you doing?
You do save money by knowing how to switch out your own car battery and your windshield wipers.
Yeah, but okay.
But
I learned how to change my windshield wipers 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Good for you! You finally learned!
Well, I haven't had to do it in 6 years. Because I never had to do it on my first car, and then I didn't do it on my second car, and then I never did it on my third car.
Look, and I say this as someone who didn't replace my windshield wipers for like 3 years. You should be replacing them yearly.
Okay, but I had my first car from 2017 to 2020, and I never replaced the windshield wipers. I had my second car from 2020 to 2021, and I didn't replace the windshield wipers. And then I had my third car from 2022 to 2025, and I would have replaced the windshield wipers this year, but I no longer have that car because other things were wrong with it. Things that I could not fix with DIY. Like power steering implosions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's entirely fair, given the timeline of the cars I have owned and their ages and previous care models, that this is the first time I have had to DIY my own windshield wipers.
Now time to DIY your own power steering. So
Nope.
Well, chat, you're welcome. I achieved my goal for today, which is setting Seki off.
So I've been bullied by Vord. I've been bullied by Knickknack. Realm, do you want to chip in? Can you think of any third instance?
No,
Thank
I don't
God.
think. No, I don't think I will.
Thank God.
I can think of another thing that would to trigger you.
I can't think of another thing that would trigger me.
Why is your belly so fat?
Shut up.
Going straight.
That is unrelated.
Going straight for the jugular on that one.
It's unrelated.
Chat, I promise I'm not just fat shaming Seki. There's a story behind that we don't need to get into
Yeah.
if she wants to.
A story that will not be told on the channel.
Yeah.
Oh, I do want to note, you do actually hear a couple things that the UA vocational school is doing.
You, yeah.
Yeah. a lot of that stuff is not actually real. That is more like future tech right there, which I think you can kind of tell by the setting.
Yeah, the setting is kind of meant to be like...
It's near future sci-fi.
Yeah, near future sci-fi.
Hopefully we will get to that stage, but
I don't know if I want to say
yet.
hopefully.
I also appreciate the level of like reclaim, reuse, recycle in the show, which is nice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But also so much stuff thrown on the beach. Just
Well,
so
that
much.
happens now, so.
There's a level of this world that I'm looking at. I'm like, man, that's near future, but also this is
now.
looking like this is looking a lot like we're walking the path to cyberpunk on this one.
I don't know about you, Lauren, but I one time I've walked down the beach and just come across like wood pallets and empty cans, and one time I was walking across the beach and I got 3 inches of a nail stuck in the bottom of my shoe that was attached to a 2 feet of 2x4 buried in the sand. My shoes had a heel like that big, so it didn't actually go through to get me, but like I fully believe that they're finding discarded pallets and driftwood and trash on the beach.
Okay, I never want to go to the beach ever again now. Thank you.
Well, there are nice beaches. And
There are nice beaches.
Yeah, you just wear beach shoes.
Yes.
AKA
You should be
steel
wearing
toe everything.
Okay, more. You should probably be wearing beach shoes and sandals when you're walking on the sand, anyways. Even if these beaches were perfectly clean,
Yeah.
because there are sea urchins, and in some parts of the world, those
Yep.
kinds of things can actually be fatal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there are like other aquatic life that can be fatal outside of sea urchins as well. Like just in general.
Or even stuff like beached jellyfish.
Yeah, like if
Okay.
you're on beaches, the safest thing to do is to wear some form of beach shoes or protection. And granted, most of the people in this world do not do that. In fact, I do not do that most of the time. The only reason that I was wearing shoes that one time when I stepped on that nail was because I was not planning. We were just walking down the beach as a family. You know?
It's kind of hard. It's like logically like, oh, I'm gonna have to take off my shoes to get in the water anyways, unless I have like dedicated
Water
swimming
shoes,
shoes.
yeah,
And not everyone's gonna have that
exactly.
because that's a little bit harder to get. But
Yeah.
still though, like if you're walking the beach, it's better to minimize the amount of time you're walking shoeless.
Mm-hmm.
It is do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
I do, in fact, go barefoot on beaches most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Look,
I also look where I'm stepping.
There are some fun facts I can throw out there that would be like, oh yeah, I'm never walking on the beach without shoes ever again.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere.
Actually, it's
Yeah.
even worse as shoes, but
Yeah.
but like sea urchin needles, when they break off and they get lodged in your foot, they will stay there for years.
Yep. They break off in your foot, like
Yeah.
behind the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with certain types of cactus spikes and stuff like that.
Yep.
Which is why I had such a horrible time after I sat on that cactus in Greece.
You basically wait for your body to dissolve the pointier bits.
Or for your body to reject it, and then if your body rejects it, you've got like 1 to 4 weeks of horrendous itching while your body pushes whatever was inside back out.
Great.
See,
We're not making this better for Vaughn.
No, you're not.
We really aren't. We're just
No,
giving
aren't we
you
trying to
more
convince Vaughn to go on a
reasons.
road trip with us?
We are. Oh, no, that ship has sailed. He will not do it. Yeah.
He will not go camping in the woods with us.
Yeah.
Me trying to do my best Skinwalker impression.
Respectfully, I'm not going camping in the woods with you.
I'm gonna do my best Skinwalker impression.
Respectfully, glamping. I spent too many days and years as a child out in the middle of fucking nowhere camping to be willing to do that as an adult. I will take a car that I can sleep in.
You'll take a camper. Got
Yep.
it.
Or just a car that I can put a blow-up mattress in. Cece and I were planning on doing a road trip. We're still planning on doing it and doing some camping outdoors. But our idea of camping is we're going to put a goddamn mattress in the back of my car after laying the seats down and sleep together in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing it. And that's a personal preference. I am not a camping person.
I would actually like to see them actually do a little bit more electronics, because that is a bit more of what like DIY is now. A bit more
Well, not
in DIY.
necessarily. A lot of modern DIY is still people doing like woodworking and small shop projects around the house. Like a lot of people do DIY where they're just like, oh, I need to build like a shelf here, or I need like a small box or a cabinet or something.
Also, for our normal DIY club members, it's mostly unrealistic for them to be doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Most of them.
in technicality, PC building is a form of DIY,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you're just acquiring the materials and then putting it together, right?
I mean, technically, we were doing electronics in high school.
Oh no, I know.
Well,
but think
you
of-
weren't. I was.
Yeah, but think about the costs of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
It's actually not that
And
bad.
they have like a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
no,
they-
that's fair.
The
Yeah.
budget is small because this is
Yeah.
a school club. If you're an adult and you're like DIYing like electronics, you have a much larger budget than a
Yeah.
school club would. Especially because school clubs, I don't know if this is how it is in Japan, but at least in the U.S., most school clubs are funded sort of in regards to like what they produce for the school, right? Like that's why sports clubs usually get higher funding because titles and awards and stuff that brings recognition to the school, whereas like underperforming clubs or smaller clubs just don't get that same level of budgetary funding. And I'm sure you guys remember that from robotics.
Oh, yeah,
Where
no,
they get kicked
100%.
to janitorial basements after 2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we were stuck in the janitorial basement. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were basically being bankrolled by our club managing teacher, who we just did small fundraisers to try and making sure he didn't lose all his money on this one little club. That
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if that's commensurate in Japan in terms of like how they allocate funds, but at least in the U.S., it doesn't make sense to be able to do these more expensive projects unless you've got somebody funding you or people are bringing in stuff from home. And then if you're bringing in a bunch of stuff from home, you also might not have the money to be able to bring in those nice things. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that they're like, no, we cannot just bankroll all of our projects, because
Yeah.
when you think about it, once these two very rich people that are involved with the club aren't there anymore.
Well, and
Yeah.
the other part of that is reduce, reuse, recycle. A big part of DIY is actually being able to like gather your materials at typically a lower price. So like one of the biggest like component parts of DIY is that in theory, your base material price should be the same or slightly less than the price of the finished product, right? Because in theory, you are spending less because you are investing your time, right? And that time is the monetary financial difference between you and whoever else is doing it, right? Because you're paying for not having to spend the time and effort, right? It's one of those things where like sometimes getting into DIY and doing your own stuff can be a little bit expensive at the very beginning because you need equipment and tools, right? So like I'm lucky enough that like, so I was, building raised garden beds outside. My dad, because he loved DIY, he wasted a ton of money on all of these tools that he barely ever used, right? Table saws, circle saws, multiple different types of saws. We've got jigs, different cutting equipment, like every single drill bit you can imagine,
Her
etc.
backyard is like a Home Depot.
It is. There's even a cement mixer back there.
Ah,
Like
amazing.
a little portable cement mixer. Actually, I got rid of that 2 weeks ago, and I'm so happy I did, finally. Hauled it off to my brother's truck and told him he can do whatever the fuck he wants with it, but it's not coming back. You bring it back, I'm putting it back on that truck.
On a quick side note, I think one funny running gag in the show for me was with you as mom, where she would always make pork themed dishes and scare the little pet pig that they
Yeah.
had shitless.
It was so funny.
The pet pig named Meat.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Miku.
What we don't know is that every year there's a new
Yeah.
Ugh.
Somehow that pig seems to be getting smaller and then bigger. It's almost like he's losing and gaining a lot of weight.
I know, right?
But yeah, so getting into DIY can have a bit of a financial requirement. But then, once you have the tools you need, in theory, it should be cheaper in the future to make your own stuff rather than buy it if you think you have the ability. Doesn't mean it's going to be the same quality, especially for your first couple projects. But in theory.
I mean, the way a lot of people can kind of get it is if you're ever starting a kitchen, like buying all the kitchen supplies, buying your first sets of spices.
Yeah.
It's a pretty hefty grocery bill.
Yeah, like if most people wouldn't even buy all their spices at once because that's just too much money. But once you have a drawer full of spices, then you only ever have to replace them when they run out. And in theory, that's not very often, especially if you buy in bulk and then just fill your little dispensers. Especially the stuff that you use frequently.
Yeah.
Same thing with like spatulas and tools and pots and pans. You only really need to buy new ones when you need new ones once you have them.
Or you fuck it up.
Yeah. Well, when you need new ones. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. Honestly, I think I think it's unrealistic to expect that more people do DIY like in their day-to-day lives because obviously the commitment is not money, it's time. And people don't necessarily have a lot of time. But I think some level of DIY would be very helpful for a lot of young adults, especially in like our economy now.
Yeah.
Anything you can do yourself is, if you're doing it consistently, is saving you money.
Yeah. Also, if you have a good circle of friends, you've almost always got either helping hands or tools that you can borrow.
Yeah.
If you trust your friends. Like, I would let one of you guys borrow my drill bits.
Yeah.
You
I will
shouldn't.
say, I will.
But I would.
I will say though that because of
You have
the
enough to
pandemic that happened over 5 years ago at this point, a lot more people
Yeah.
had a lot more time
Yeah.
in their hands.
People bought a lot of equipment
Yep.
Yeah.
over the
they
pandemic.
So they had just a lot more time to pick up some DIY tools and.
You know,
Yeah.
fun fact, the pandemic is the reason why I have my own personal set of drills.
Yeah.
Mm.
I have a personal drill and impact driver at my house,
Uh-huh.
separate from my dad's old set, because my brother took me out and he said, your dad should have been the person to buy you your first drill bit and impact driver, but since he's not here, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of family I come from.
That's at least nice though, because if you get a good one, you can keep it
Yeah.
for quite a while.
Yeah, your 21st birthday present. Drill bits and an impact driver.
Hell yeah.
And a lesson on how to use them.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
Look, I get it. My family, when I moved out, one of their moving out gifts was this just tote bag full of tools, your first toolkit.
Yeah.
And then, like, one of my first Christmases after that, my gift was a more complete, like, fully kitted out toolkit.
And granted, you might not have needed to use them a lot, but when you do need to use them, it's nice to have them.
Yep.
yeah, it's a lifesaver quite literally
Yep.
sometimes.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh man, I love the concept of DIY, even with its flaws, because I think it just engages such a basic part of human nature that has to do with like self-sufficiency and community. Because very often DIY is a combination of a desire for self-sufficiency and also a product of community, you know?
Me also wanting to be caveman and use rock and stone.
Well, I mean, there's use rock and stone, and then there's, DIY. I certainly will not be flint napping myself arrowheads and then going and hunting.
Rock and stone.
Ooh, I would actually like to see a bit more 3D printing, because that is actually a big thing now, 3D printing.
Yeah, but that 3D printing requires a lot more budget. I'm sure that's something.
Yeah. Well, hold on.
Cheap ones.
Hold on.
Yeah.
The thing is, with 3D printing, you have to think the investment budget of buying a decent 3D printer, because they're not going to want to get something super cheap, right?
Yeah.
Because you do want something that's got at least some lifespan to it. And then filament regularly to print things with.
No, here's the thing. If you get the cheap ones that are actually everything's 3D printed parts, they actually do last quite a while. You're just going to have not great tolerances, so you have to design for that. Other than that, you're pretty much okay.
But that's the point. Like if like for example, if a student club was thinking about buying a dedicated 3D printer, right? I can guarantee you that the first thought on the head of the advisor would be, we need something that's going to last for a long time and be capable of doing a wide variety of things. Like, we need to make it as universally usable as is physically possible. And to do that, you do need to go with a bit of a higher end model, right? Consider that probably, a student budget's, like $1,000 or $2,000 for the whole year at max, right?
Yeah.
And then that also has to account for filament and everything else the club wants to do through the year.
Yeah.
So I can understand why a club wouldn't have the funds for that, per se. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, fair.
Like, that's the sort of thing where you're in your 20s and you're in your friend group and one person has a 3D printer and you're like, hey, if I buy the filament and send you the files, will you print this thing for me, you know?
It's just reminding me right now of, like, Formula, which I understand definitely has a much larger budget.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here is the tiny budget, because I think a 3D printer is absolutely fantastic for, like, a school club, but it's that initial investment, right? You'd probably have to get, like, a specific grant from the school or do, like, a separate fundraiser aside from your normal funds to pay for the
And
printer.
they were pretty much operating on leftover funds.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what? 8,000... No, it's 80,000. It's like, what, 800?
$800
Yeah,
about.
Yeah.
That's not a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when accounting for constant filament use. Because the thing about 3D printers is I understand that the buy-in doesn't necessarily have to be incredibly expensive. I know that because you can get smaller, cheaper models, but it's the constant filament replacement
Yeah,
especially
and then
with as much
humanity.
filament as gets wasted on supports and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the main thing with 3D printing is just the support filament usually ends up being a lot of the bulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which sucks. I need to get a 3D printer. I want one. I'm not going to get one.
I'm gonna
Sorry.
build-
Let me rephrase that. I would love to have a 3D printer. That is not in the cards for me.
I'm gonna build
The
a
thing-
house with a 3D
What would you
printer.
do with your
There
3D
are
printer?
actually
Though? Would you just like print out
printable-
because you don't
I
play like a
know.
lot of table like you don't play on the
Yeah.
tabletop like D&D very
Part of
much.
the reason why I don't play on the tabletop is because I don't have access to a lot of like physical things, right?
I don't know. Apparently, we can just borrow some from Harrison's Christmas. We could just borrow some from Realm's Christmas gift this year.
So what the secret here is we actually just need to cannibalize Voron's Lego architecture sets and use them. But no, I would love to have like several storage bins worth of like actual like tiles and little like figures and stuff like that to run in-person D&D. But also even beyond that, right? There's like a level of like for a lot of like lesser known anime, right? Like it's hard to find figures in the West, but you can often get 3D renderings for 3D printing of figures that you could put together and paint yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like that's one of the easiest ways to get solo leveling figures right now because there just aren't that many of them, for example. So it's one of those things where it's like I would love to have one to be able to print those like little things that I would want to have, but I don't want to pay someone else to print necessarily. Yeah. But also, I don't really care enough to have all those things printed for me to invest in a 3D printer at any point soon.
Just you wait until we get 3D scanners.
We already have this.
I'm sure they're expensive
Yeah.
as shit, though. And they're probably not as good as you'd want them to be.
Wait until we get our holographic printers. I can't wait to have my holographic meatloaf.
Wait until we all have Jarvis in our houses.
Jarvis
Yeah.
crushes balls.
There's some LiDAR, like, additional scanner stuff that you can actually add to your phones, but you then actually have to...
Seki, you want to tell me how
Be
much
very
LiDAR, LiDAR runs you?
A lot. A lot.
Actually, that's gone cheaper. It actually has gone cheaper, believe me.
I realize that, Vorn, but LiDAR is such a large part of archaeology, and yet so little LiDAR actually gets done. And that's because archaeology is funded just enough to pay for, like, a percentage of scans every year, and then we use those scans for the next decade to death, because we cannot afford another scan for another decade.
Yeah, yours is very in-depth over a large area. I'm talking very small.
No, even portable LiDAR is still really expensive.
fair.
Like actual LiDAR, incredibly expensive
Okay,
to
fair.
do.
What you can do
And
and what
often
you can do.
restricted by governments.
Yeah.
There's a lot we can do. Technically, that's like
Yeah.
incredible. There's not as much that we can do technically on an affordable consumer level.
Yeah.
There's a reason that we still actively use mobile ground penetrating radar rather than LiDAR in archaeology, and it's because mobile ground penetrating radar is still cheaper, than LiDAR is.
Yeah.
And even ground penetrating radar is expensive on a site.
Oh, yeah. I just remembered. Technically, you're actually wrong about 3D printing, the filament being more expensive. It's actually about electricity you use.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
depends on how you run your electricity through, right? Like, for example, I have solar panels, so, I mean, I pay very little for electricity
Yeah.
all throughout the year.
See, I just have a hamster that runs in a wheel.
Yeah, exactly. Electricity is one of those things where it's like, if it's included in your rent, then it's not really your problem, first of
Yeah.
all, if you're living in an apartment. If your electricity bill is bundled, right, or like a set amount, then it's not really
It's
your
not
problem,
set. They
right?
do track that.
Some do, some don't. Some places don't.
Yeah.
And then, are you really going to be running a 3D printer with such frequency that it is going to significantly bump your electricity bill?
I mean...
Because if you're not printing something like 18 hours a day every day, if you're printing, like if you've got a 3D printer, right, and you're printing maybe like 2 or 3 things a week, it's not going to significantly bump your electricity bill as compared to someone who's running a 3D printing business. And if you're running a 3D printing business, then you're already accounting for that in your financials.
Yeah. Wasn't our friend who actually had the 3D printer
Yes.
pretty much had a heater without actually buying a heater during the winter?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's an expensive ass heater, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you could turn on the heater, or you could just on loop print out 50 billion D&D figures.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
print out 50 billion miniatures.
That's the thing, is that I feel like if I had access to like even a small 3D printer, I still wouldn't be going like absolutely wild over what I was printing, right? Like I'd be printing what I genuinely thought that what I would be using actively, right? Like print on demand, basically, as opposed to, oh, find a bunch of things and print a ton of stuff and then see if I can use it. No. Other way around, you know?
Yeah, the only thing is, like, you do have to keep your filament, like, humidity controlled right there. 'Cause they will actually soak up water, and you don't want that right there. And that's the only thing you have to worry about.
My house is humidity controlled, as in it doesn't have water inside of it where there's not supposed to be water.
So I do think I probably should drag us kicking and screaming back to the anime,
Yeah,
because
we've
we're now
been-
50
Yeah,
minutes in and
sorry.
we barely talked about it.
Far off the end. My God.
What? It's DIY. We're talking DIY.
I think this is the best possible outcome when you and your friends watch an T.H.E anime.
Yes, actually.
Well, on the topic of the anime, moving us back to talking about the anime itself, I personally thought the beginning of this anime and the ending were fine. The middle, though, kind of lulled for me a fair bit. And I feel like a large part of that has to do with the fact at the beginning, it is an T.H.E, but it almost felt like there'd be a little bit more character work with how much they wrote into the beginning and some of the little side things they brought up.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like one detail that really, really grabbed me at the beginning that I was very hooked into immediately was they hint that Yua, our main character, Yua Serufu, and they go about the dynamic of Yua and Miku Pudding.
Or pudding.
They go about their dynamic, and Pudding is very, very evidently pissed off at Yua, and this leads to like Pudding's entire arc throughout the series. But that entire bit was kind of supposed to hint that Pudding knew that Yua was way more intelligent than you just see at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just that she doesn't apply herself, because then like, later on you see her like pretty much acing her tests.
Yeah.
And she would have aced it, like, come top if she hadn't fallen asleep. It's
Yeah.
the same thing there, but like that conflict to me, like that I kind of thought that'd be more underpinning the story across the entire season than it was. And they kind of they play with it more at the beginning, and at the end they kind of resolve it, but they don't really have any kind of rising or falling actions in terms of the dynamics of their characters. Not really. And that kind of disappointed me, because that was kind of like the what hooked me in the most at the beginning.
I think that's probably like one of the fair things to criticize, but also in the same vein, it's an T.H.E. I don't really expect like the same level of story pacing from an T.H.E. and character writing as I would from a more traditional shonen, or even to some extent like a shoujo anime, like a magical girl show, just as an example.
I think that the slight lack of more effort into kind of the characters through the middle of the series isn't necessarily endemic of the genre. I think it's endemic of the fact that this is a anime project originally. I think it's always a little harder for anime-only projects to develop that kind of thing, especially in an T.H.E. As opposed to a manga, right? Because in a manga, you actually have more time and space to include stuff like that, and then it's usually cut down for TV production. Yeah. Whereas here, since we're starting with TV production, we've got a very limited runtime, things that they want to get through, and scenes that they want to show, and then everything else is kind of limited around that, right? And then I would wonder if you were to read the 3-volume manga, if it shared the same character issues, or if they managed to add in some like extra context. Not to say that you should have to read a book if you watch the show, but since they've made it obviously a multimedia project by doing the anime and then the manga and then also the live action, I would wonder if they fixed some of those missing character moments in the manga.
There's a live action?
Yes, it came out the year after, and I am very excited to see it.
Maybe.
We should watch it. It's only 8 episodes.
Sure.
I do also think it's not just that it's an T.H.E. because I don't think any of what I suggested would push it against me, because I'm not asking for like rom-com levels of like
or fights. You know.
I'm more thinking like character moments a little bit beyond what we got here.
Yeah,
and T.H.E. can have like character development and moments still.
I think though that Yoshike does tend to be sometimes more prone to having a little less character moments, just because it's kind of so much calmer and less stressful that there's not as many moments to like shove in stress.
It's meant to be
character
more
development.
Yeah,
It's slice of life. It's day-to-day living.
It's slice of life, and also it's meant to be more feel-goody, and so character conflicts kind of maybe for some people tend to not be more feel-goody in that way.
I think the bigger issue here is that ESHK creators need to figure out a way to introduce more character moments outside of like fight or rom-com tension, which because fights and rom-com tensions are kind of like a cheap method to introducing character growth in other shows. You know what I mean? Like it's very easy to see like character development between Katsuki and Deku in My Hero because of the constant fighting and yelling and stuff like that. So when it changes or when they decide to talk about it, it makes like it's very easy to do that and have people be happy. But when your entire show is kind of on the same calm, day-to-day, just living your life angle, it's a little bit harder. There's less spaces to manufacture those moments, so those creators need to be a little bit better about balancing getting those shots in. Because I have watched ESHK that have really good character development, but I've also watched some ESHK that have really, really bad character development. Sweetness and lightning.
Yeah, I don't think this ESHK is as bad as some of the other ones I've seen have been, but it definitely does feel like, especially in the middle, we're leaning more on this being cute girls do cute things than actually giving a lot of these girls character at all in those middle portions.
And to be fair, for a lot of people watching, that's perfectly fine. Like, a lot of people are watching this just to have cute girls doing cute things, and little funny moments. So, like, I get it. But for those of us who want more, there could have been more.
Look, I like writing in my literature,
I want my characters to suffer.
I don't even to suffer.
This is media, not literature.
Sorry, my media. I don't need them to suffer. I just need. I want to see more points of like little moments of human growth.
Yeah. And like I said, those are often easy to slip aside in favor of including other moments in a series in an anime context.
I was actually a little bit disappointed that. At the end, that part where it looks like you was in shock over everything that had happened. I was like, oh, some tension. Maybe like this will be a quick moment where of growth is they're reconnecting. No, it was figured out the day before. Yeah. I was a little disappointed that you really skipped out on that character.
I also would have liked a little bit more emotion behind knowing that Jobuko was going to have to go back to the U.S.
Yeah.
Because it did kind of feel like it was like, we all knew it was temporary. So she's leaving now. But, these girls have spent so much time together and done so many things.
Especially when Jobuko's entire arc kind of started with that distrust and, difficulty adjusting. Like,
there would have been a really, really good moment to put, an incredibly sad scene with the girls crying and being, incredibly upset, over, the loss of their friend going away and not being able to do things with them anymore, right?
Right.
Maybe even a poignant after credit scene where they were building something and one of them kind of turns around and just goes, Jobuko! Oh.
Oh.
Some sort of poignant call out to the fact that she's not there.
Because otherwise, why did we even write in her leaving? Even though we knew it would happen because of the way it was set up, they didn't need during that end of the season.
Yeah. But it's a good show regardless.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
It's cute. I think especially if you're not watching this in a shorter time span, this one it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I could have actually seen myself watching this as a week to week in betweener show.
Oh yeah, as a week to week, this would have been fantastic. Waifu Wars.
Waifu Wars.
Waifu Wars. Waifu Wars. Waifu Wars. Born.
Goddamn. Miku, aka Pudding.
Booty.
And also
Booty.
The pig. Meat. That poor pig.
That poor pig.
That's fair.
That poor pig.
Realm.
Honestly, Yua Serifu.
The name pun alone.
Yeah, the name pun alone is great. But also, I just like how, airheaded she portrays herself to be. until we learn that it's mostly just a front that she puts up.
Okay. Knick-knack?
The please upgrade my UI robot.
I'll go with Kure, but outside of Kure, Serufu's mother.
Fair enough.
The constant pork dishes really were there for me, you know?
Poor meat just seems to get skinnier and then fatter and then skinnier.
But I also really liked Kure, because I thought it was really fun that, like, there's, like, these weird rumors about her because of how passionate she is.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's a little bit funny.
Can I be
like
honest?
that.
I didn't realize that she was a she until like an episode in.
It's literally a girls' school.
I think both.
I
of them
didn't
are
think
all
about the
They're
fact that
both girls' schools.
I didn't realize that it was an all-girls school when I was watching it, like that
Yeah.
first episode though.
Well, they're
It-
both all girls' schools.
Yeah, it does, in fairness to Nick, it doesn't get stated until I think episode 2 at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, but yeah.
But yeah, that's
I don't really have any closing thoughts myself
well,
because
as towards recommendations, I do actually have a few. I do
Okay.
think Dumbbell Nani Kilowa is a good
Mhm.
is a good recommendation going off this. But outside of Dumbbell Nani Kilowa, I actually would like to recommend Isekai Izakaya Nobu, right?
Ooh,
Specifically. As my Iashike going off this. Isekai Izakaya Nobu is in the hat, and I do want us to watch it at some point. But in that sort of vein that, like, this is people doing, like, genuine day-to-day things and stuff, Isekai Izakaya Nobu has that same sort of thing. But the fun thing about the Isekai Izakaya episodes is that the episodes themselves are only about 8 to 12 minutes long, but the runtime of the episodes is about 20, because there's 8 to 12 minutes of the anime, and then they do a scene where we're actually either talking to a real-life chef who's teaching you how to do something, like, here's a good way to substitute for noodles to make low-calorie dishes, here's how you do it, let me show you. Or, and that's every other episode, and then the alternating ones is a host actually taking us out and about in Japan to tell us about, like, the food culture in different places, right? So I think for me, Isekai Izakaya Nobu and Dumbbell Nani Kilowa are good recommendations off this, because they're both a little bit more towards the educational track, but they still have that, like, really fun vibe inside the show that this manages to channel. And then my unrecommendation, something I would tell you to never watch if you liked this, which is not something we normally do and not something that's going to become a trend, but don't watch Sweetness and Lightning.
go watch Sweetness and Lightning.
I hate Sweetness and Lightning with
So
a burning passion.
It's
Go-
time
go.
for my obligatory Type Moon recommendation.
Is this today's menu with the Emiya household?
One of them, yes. Yeah, Emiya Gohan or today's menu with the Emiya household.
Yeah.
Obviously, anyone with knowledge of that series would say the same, I think. But a second recommendation I'll throw out there is Fujimaru Ritsuka doesn't get it.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen like an
Yeah.
episode of
I've
that.
seen an episode of this. Yeah, that makes sense.
Honestly, I don't really think I have many recommendations. I have
I don't
watched.
think you really watch this genre much on your own.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
particularly. Like, I mean, I don't hate this genre, but it's
Yeah.
just not something I go out of my way to watch, really.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
It's I get it. Iashike can be a hard sell for people who are really used to, like, shoujo and shonen stories and, like, rom-coms and stuff, because it doesn't have as many, like, gut punch moments, and it's not as actiony and it's not as rom-com-y. It's on the whole for a very different demographic of people and kind of for a very different vibe of watching it. Like, you're not watching an Iashike show to get really excited or hyped up about the next week's episode, you know? Or really excited about, like, a potential romantic pairing. You're watching it because it's relaxing and it's fun and it's chill.
Well, the way I view Ishike, and I'm not talking in terms of genre or like like an audience, but when I view Ishike, I think of it in a similar way I view a good Pixar movie versus a bad Pixar movie, for example, where you're obviously an Ishike needs to be able to target that Ishike audience of like the cute girls do cute things, or like the very like the mundane being like
Interesting
being refreshing
to watch.
and interesting.
Yeah.
But it's still like the good ones, the ones that are actually great. Those ones have to also be able to add those, like, be able to be able to hook people in with with storylines built around those small moments of human growth.
Exactly.
The
Which
more
is
mundane
why,
human growth, but it's still something you can get invested in.
which is why I always highly recommend Isekai Izakaya Nobu. I know it's weird because it's only like half anime and the other half is like actual educational content, but it does manage to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the feels, Drugstore in Another World.
Drugstore in Another World is terrible. Have you actually watched it?
Yeah, I have.
It's so boring. Nothing happens.
Yeah, no.
No,
but
Drugstore
let's
in
me freaking calm down and not actually worry about the world.
Drugstore in
Like, that's
Another
what it
World is the
did.
type of isekai that you have a problem with, Knick-Knack. It's the type where nothing happens and the characters don't grow, and it's so boring. As someone who was really excited for Drugstore in Another World, and then actually couldn't get past 2 episodes of it, which was the same problem I had with Sweetness and Lightning. I was like so excited for for what I thought Sweetness and Lightning and Drugstore to Another World were going to be, and then I started to watch them, and they were just mind-numbing. Like, they were the sort of thing that I put on as background noise, and I don't even rewind when I'm not focusing on them to see what stuff I missed.
Well, I'll just say, when we eventually watch those for the club...
They're both in the hat!
I really hope there's a good FGO event to grind on at the time.
Oh my god. They're a perfect time just, if you're just so stressed out about the world, just shut off your mind shows.
I got other
They
stuff
really
I do
are.
get stressed
There
out
are
about the
better
world.
shows you can shut off your mind to.
I could go play...
Personal preference, I guess.
I could just go play Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could.
I can go play Trade Winds.
I can go play Warframe. I can shut my brain off to that game any day of the week.
Why did we get progressively less and less in the comfy feely genre of game as we
You're
went
over
on?
here Animal Crossing. I'm over here and I cite a game that I once spent 7 hours screaming at on stream. And then Will's like, Warframe.
Look, I'm the only one who's played it here, so I'm the only one who can speak to it. But when you play a power fantasy game like Warframe, you can kind of just forget about shit and just mindlessly slaughter hordes of enemies like a Dynasty Warriors game. And there's something cathartic about it.
Look, I get it, because like my dad's way of unwinding was going and killing people in Call of Duty Black Ops, and that's how he used to say it.
I was going to say, all I need now is for Vaughn to just pop out with, well, if I wanted to relax to a game, I'd play something like insert some sort of ridiculous, even worse game than Warframe here.
Now, I'll just throw like a whole entire large-ass nuke in Minecraft. That's it.
I don't know.
Just
Minecraft
blow
is a
up the
feel-good
whole
game for
entire
me.
world.
Yeah. But Minecraft is not a game that I can't think about.
When I need to unwind, I just log into Fallout 76 and go drop a nuke on Gabe Newell's camp. Or not Gabe Newell's. It's who is the
I don't know.
I don't remember.
The CEO.
Anyways, because this came out of Rando, we actually get to randomly draw who goes next. So our order is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Rando's 5.
Woohoo!
I'm drawing out of 5. So remember your number.
Okay.
5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Come on.
Why 5?
I want to go rando.
Is it 1?
It's 5. It's 5. It's random.
I knew it was either 5 or 1 when you looked at me and gave me a look. I'm like, oh, it's either 5 or 1.
Okay.
All right, so Rando gets to go again.
All right. Let's mark it down. Rando's going a second time.
Man, to believe that Rando got to go 3 times before any of us got to go
Twice.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Rando's gonna run out of submissions before we do, and that'll be
No,
hilarious.
it's not. All right, let me restructure this because now it needs to be out of 340.
This is funny.
Honestly, I'd be kind of here for it if Rando managed to run out of its selection before we got through very many of ours, so it's just a full battle royale.
All right, boys and girls and squirrels, we are 1 to 340.
Oh my.
So if we'd like to drum roll real quick. Didn't hit it.
Oh.
Damn it. Do we need to do another one? Did you?
I don't know what it is.
Nice. Nice.
I don't know what it is yet. Let me go find
Let's find
out.
out. All right, what's number 69?
That's a funny number.
Who's got the funny number?
Oh,
Uh,
Knick-Knack. This
Ah.
is yours.
That's either a good thing for you or a bad thing for you. It could be a good thing for me or a bad thing for me too, because I don't like everything I put in the hat.
Let's see if you can guess what it is. If I tell you where in the alphabet it is, it's in the D's. It is the only thing that you have. You have two things in the hat that are D names. I just thought it would be fun to see if he could guess, since he only has 2 animes in this category.
Dix and Dunces?
English names.
No, it's not. I don't know. What
I
that
know.
is.
But
I don't know.
I would assume Danganronpa, but probably wrong.
Nope.
I didn't see
So
that.
one of the 2 D names you have in the hat is Drifters. That's not this. Demon Slayer.
Oh, we're gonna get to watch.
Mugen
Okay.
Train arc and Entertainment District arc. So
I've
you
actually
need
had
to
some.
explain how we are doing this.
Okay, so this is a little bit funky, because for anyone that Realm will know this better than anyone actually.
Mm-hmm.
The next arc of Demon Slayer was released as a movie.
Yep.
But we're watching season 2, which is that plus a little further. And when they did season 2 of Demon Slayer, they actually re-released the movie as a TV reproduction with an exclusive episode, prologue episode to it. So the way this is going to work is you can watch, if you want to watch the movie for the Mugen Train specifically, you can, but you'll also be watching Entertainment District after that. Just make sure you're watching episode 0, or if you want to just keep it simple, just watch season 2 with Mugen Train and Entertainment District.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've had some conversations like Tacos in the YouTube chat about this.
Wait, is this like all of season 2, or is it cut off somewhere?
I'll give you the full episode count. It's not...
Yeah.
These 2 arcs were bundled together. It's not like a long... I'm not giving you a Fairy Tail 24 episode submission here. Not that you're not going to have plenty of time to do it.
This is going to be a fairly reasonable length submission.
Yeah.
So...
It also means we're cycling back around to Knick Knack.
Yeah.
The next time that we're...
Okay, so...
Oh no, we'll be drawing again from random.
Yep.
We could get random... Okay.
So
We could
Mugen
get
Train
random
is 7
again?
episodes and Entertainment District is 11. So it's 18 episodes total.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's less than some of
Wait,
what I give you.
You said episode 0, so it's
So,
0 for 2.
right here,
17?
episode 1. Flame Hashira Kyojuro Rengoku.
Okay.
That is only in the TV version. If you go pull up the movie,
Okay.
it won't be there. But once you finish that episode, you can watch the rest in movie if you prefer to just keep it in one movie.
Oh,
Or you can
For
watch
the
just
Mugen Train.
Yeah, for Mugen
The
Train.
entertainment arc you're watching is the anime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're split up on Crunchyroll now, but they were one continuous
Yeah.
production.
So it will make sense, and then obviously Knick Knack will send a message to the group
Yeah.
chat that will convey all of this that you can check back to.
Great.
But we've already all seen per season 1
Yes.
of Demon
Yep.
Slayer. Just as a quick recap from what I remember, everyone was pretty positive on it at the last time we stopped.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, me and Vorn might have been a little iffy on different things. Vorn didn't really like the training arc from season 1, and then I wasn't happy about something else, but we were both generally at least neutral.
Like, no one was fully against it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was
'cause I'm
more
pretty
like
sure,
we're feeling kind of a lull.
because I'm pretty sure the last time we watched it, it was up for anime of the season, so we definitely gave it all approvals.
Might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is back when anime of the season wasn't nominations; it was like anything that was all approved.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This I'm pretty sure this also came up for anime of the season when I gamed the system to get El Malloy to win. So it's my fault that it didn't win, probably.
I don't remember what I was voting on. Like
Yeah.
what my pick was. I think
I don't know
I
either.
kind of remember.
But I know for a fact I gamed the system that season to force El Malloy into the best anime of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think we need to pull up any trailers. We've
No.
seen the first
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
We can generally transition into there. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think unless anyone has any last things they'd like to throw out there. No.
Yeah.
Well, remember, try
DIY,
harder, everyone.
everyone.